I got some serious bad head, but that's a side note. So ignore the hair. But what's up, legend? So the manipulation, Jesus Christ, the manipulation that you experience is, um, fuck it, is to help you master your energy. Because really, what's taking place with manipulation, and I actually had a dream in the middle of the night that woke me up, and the dream was like really vivid. It was like my experiences of manipulation. And don't get me wrong, like I've done it on my come up, experienced a lot of it in many different ways, very intricate ways, people that are like really good at manipulating, and also experiences where it's just like really in your face and you can't deny the fact that you are being manipulated. And what it is, it's the person, right, is trying to manipulate your state of being, because now if they're able to manipulate your state of being, you end up shifting to some form of unconsciousness, and you're not present, fully present for the conversation. And since you're kind of like in this in and out battling what you're feeling inside, by some form of like wrongdoing, right? Getting you to feel like you've done something wrong kind of brings up that reactionary state within you, and you're not really able to stay up to speed with the conversation and how they're steering it. And that's where they're able to kind of, you know, pull your strings, so to speak. And then see, at a certain point, it's all about just wanting to soothe this feeling. And if they're able to, again, be really good at it and steer the conversation in a way to where they're able to also not only cause the discomfort, but provide the soothing, that's where it gets a little tricky, a little dangerous, because now you don't even know which way is up, which way is down, and what's happening, who you are, what do you even stand for, what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. It kind of feels like um, you don't know who you are. And that's why it's part of my sign off of like, remember who you are, right? Because as long as you know who you are, as long as like in the presence of all that, you're able to remember who you are, then you can't have anybody question that about you. But the thing that allows us to be able to know who we are is, excuse me, for you to experience what you're not. And that's why it's so uncomfortable, is when people say certain things about you and you just know deep down inside that like that's not true. But what kind of makes it iffy is if it's coming from somebody that you care about. And, there's a trust there. There's a trust that this person knows me, or this person loves me, or, I care about this person so much that we also have this trust that this person feels the same way. But the thing is, we can't feel what people feel, right? Like, even being an empath and having the ability to have the sensitivity as to what somebody may feel, you still don't know how they truly feel and what's driving them to um, need to do that, right? Because in the process of needing to manipulate, that means that there's some discomfort within them that they don't know how to deal with. So they think the way to soothe themselves is they can control you for their own safety, their own security. And if they're not able to do that, then that's when they start, attacking and trying to find ways to like gain more control, because they just need that sense of safety. And as you get to reflect, nobody knows you better than you. You are your ultimate best friend. You've been with you literally since day one. If anybody knows you, it's you. You don't have to convince anybody that you're an awesome person. You just are. End of story. You don't need to explain shit. And as you start to own that and acknowledge that and remember that there's no relationship that comes above that. There's no relationship that should ever get you to question yourself. And even if it's your own parents, even if it's family members, even if it's a loved one, you know, intimate, or it's okay to disagree, right? But it's not okay to make somebody wrong or have somebody make you wrong. Right? It's okay to like, hey, I don't agree with how you showed up in this way or how you did this. But if somebody tries to make you feel wrong about you just being you, then again, there's that form of manipulation started to come into play, because in order for you to be wrong, that means they have to be right and you have to fall in line to their perspective of life, which means your perspective is wrong, which is not true. That's just a matter of preference. So it's good to have the conversation as to what's the way to meet halfway, or what were the intentions behind things, right? Because something can be perceived as wrong until you understand somebody's intentions, and then you're like, oh, okay, I just seeing at it from a different angle, or maybe I experienced something before talking to you. So if anybody ever gets you to question who you are, remember who you are. And as you feel yourself kind of going into that reactionary state, right? Because you can feel your attention start to leave your body, go into your head, and you start thinking and replaying like how, when did this happen? And I know I'm not this way or that way. I know myself to be a loving person. How did and like it's almost that defensiveness starts to come up because you're defending the person you know yourself to be. But in that state of defensiveness, also be aware you're shifting towards that state of unconsciousness, and you're not able to be there with you in what's happening. So, a great response towards anybody trying to manipulate your energy and your state of being is to create space, right? So, once you feel yourself shifting, it's just now is not the time. I will come back to this, and allow yourself to just regroup, gather your energy back, remember who you are, tap into like your qualities. And as you connect deeper with yourself, you just silence them, silence everything else. You can write down your thoughts, you can write down your thoughts. You can like put in earplugs. You don't have earplugs, put in headphones, just no sound, and just like minimize the what's coming in. So you can just start to hear yourself again. And from that space, you get to remove any doubt. And again, it's not to say that we can't be receptive to, incoming information. If anything, you know yourself to be open to that. It's just there's something within the delivery that's getting um, you to question who you are. That's what's being thrown off. And whenever people want a specific outcome in the conversation is supposed to be like, hey, this is what's on my mind, how I'm feeling, what's on yours, how are you feeling, and this flows this back and forth. But whenever this is like you're wrong, you're doing this, then it's teetering. It's pretty much blurring that line of manipulation. Because in order for, and again, from having done it myself, right? We all do it at some point, but again, bring it back to me. Like times of arguments where I would try to make somebody wrong, I would have to get them to see how they were wrong. Where it's in accepting, hey, I can share my perspective of what I preferred. I can share my perspective about what I didn't like about the situation. It doesn't have to be wrong, but I get to share what I didn't like about the situation. And if you're willing to meet me halfway on this, Awesome. And if you're not, okay, I get to be aware of it, which means I sustain my power because I don't need you to change. I don't need you to be any different. If you do, it's great. I see that, like, you care about how you came across, and how we can move forward with each other in mind. And if you don't, that's good feedback. That's good for me to know. And it will reveal like what's in resonance and what's not. And anytime that there's the experiences of manipulation, it's just to highlight like what were the things that had the ability to alter your state of being. Right? And there's so many things. It could be people. It could also be things. It could be money. Money could have the ability to manipulate your state of being. The thought of it, does it like close you up? Are you able to be open? Can you just be? Or like, what does that word money do for you? And essentially, right, being here, existing, is finding ways of mastering your energy. And it's just being able to tap into who you are, being able to know who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what you hear, because you're you're the one that's allowing that to take place within you, right? You're the only one that can feel what you're feeling. So you're granting permission. Because the idea with manipulation, it's like, oh, this person's able to control me and my state of being and being sneaky in all these ways. It's sneaky behavior for sure. You're just really attentive as to like what sets you off. What's the thing and to what degree? If I pull the string this way and I pull the string this way, all these little ways. But if you're able to know your stability, your center, your groundedness, you can feel if this starts to happen. And then you'll as you continue to develop that sense of sensitivity, you feel this. It's like, oh, before like the Jenga tower, before that falls, let me come back. Let me come back to who I am. Let me come back to my voice. Because there's something about this topic, what's being said, what's happening, what I'm seeing, is throwing me off center. What is it? Again, doesn't make it right or wrong, good or bad. You just want to know what has the ability to cause this to happen. So that's really the ultimate thing that really pisses us off, right? It's like if something has the ability to sway you in such a grand way, even a little way, right? It's kind of annoying to get something to like, get you moving. It's it feels powerless. It feels powerless that something has the ability to control you. And if it's getting you to feel a certain way, it's controlling you. And that's why frustration, anger kind of like stems from it. It's you showing yourself that you're powerful, you're not powerless. So it shows you through the sensation of experiencing that anger within you because you know you're powerful. You're powerful beyond measure. So just see this as like a training tool. See all forms of manipulation as a training tool, and I like the dream that I had was, a previous roommate of mine that, given my background, I keep pointing this way, fighting and stuff. Physically, he can't do anything to me. But he would try to um, manipulate and try to get me to feel like I've done something wrong, right? Where I would have calls within my room and he had a bunch of dogs there, sometimes like 7, 8 dogs at a time. Like it was a lot. And my only ask was like, hey, anytime I have a call, we'll give you a heads up. Like for that time, if you could just like try to control the dogs as much as possible so they're not like barking crazy. And, just don't like vacuum or anything by my room. right? Like any like out of the ordinary sounds. You know, you want to listen to music, do your thing, but just don't not in my area by my door as I have a call. And it'll be, you know, conversations of like, um, again, some way that I'm being too much, I'm asking too much, and like, I'm being wrong. It's just like, okay. And I noticed every time I would point something out, how it's being addressed, and the topic would change, and the topic would change, but it would be based on the same sensation, trying to highlight the same sensation of some form of wrongdoingness. And then the topic would change. And again, it would be tied to the same sensation. And at first there was like an annoyance that like came up, and then like I would shift to that unconscious state, and I was like, man, if I like if you could just put gloves on, I would love to just crack you in the face, because people like you sometimes just need to be cracked in the face, so you can stop doing this. So I seen him do it with the other roommate that was there. He wouldn't really speak up. He'll talk about it to me, but he wouldn't speak up to him directly. So it's just like, man, if I could just show you. But I was just like, let's reel it back, because this is pissing me off for a reason. It's pissing me off because I'm allowing it to have control over me. And I got to see that the more I heighten my sensitivity to what I was feeling, that's when I started to notice that game taking place. I would address something, I would get him to see that I see what he's doing, and then the topic would change. And the main thing was trying to see if he can use this topic to get me to feel that same way, like I've done something wrong or I'm bad, or and then when I would highlight that I see what's taking place here, then the topic would change again. And that's the thing that people do in manipulations. Try to see that they kind of throw you off kilter, and then you're not able to stay up to speed. And like as you're trying to regain your balance, you're also trying to, stay in the conversation and remember like where you left off, but how did you even get here? And like when did you end up, when were you wrong to begin with? And like what's the outcome that you're even wanting? And it's so disorienting. But what allows you to stay oriented and stay clear is just keeping clarity with you. Forget everybody else, forget everything else. You, how do you feel? What does your energy feel like? What does your voice sound like? How do you feel about all things? And if you come across a topic that you're like, well, I'm not quite sure, cool. Let's pause. Let's pause this conversation. Let me come back to you in about an hour, 2 hours. Now's not the time. I got something else to handle or whatever. Get your space and then get clear on how do I feel? Because there's been times that I just wanted to get it over with because I was so annoyed about how it made me feel. And like the fact that I just never wanted to really feel that way to begin with. And trying to kind of like bulldoze through it, it just kept me in that unconscious state. And I knew what was happening at certain points. And I knew what I wanted to say, but I wasn't present enough to like fully get that across. And I would feel it, and there would be this sense of frustration behind it. But also, as you take the pause, you don't want to avoid it either. Recalibrate, own who you are. And then, after you own who you are, reintroduce yourself. Hey, my name is Mike, and this is how I feel about this. And all you're looking to do throughout that conversation is come back to you, come back to you, stay with you. As you feel this happening, stay with you, stay with you. And you make whatever they say um, not as enticing to get lost in. You can ask them to repeat it. Because let's say like they're talking and you're just grounding, and you're just staying with you. What was that again? And it's also, you know, when people that try to manipulate see that their tactics aren't working, one of two things happen. They start to build up frustration because their sense of control gets diminished. And the way that they thought that they can keep that control starts to diminish. Or two, they see it's just not working. And they start to give up more and more and more. But manipulation works the most in the heat of the moment when you're not able to calibrate. So once they see that you're not easily swayed, it actually puts the manipulator in panic mode because they see that there's no way that they could get you to question yourself. So it's very important to remember who you are all day long, every day, and start your day by tuning into you because you're the most important person in the world. What you say matters, how you feel matters. And as you allow you to be seen and felt by you, you'll have this trust and this knowing that you will never leave your side. And something does happen to shift you to unconsciousness, right? And you kind of feel that happening, kind of like the camera's getting blurry, like then just come back to you. You can even have that as like your own mantra. Come back to me, come back to me. Whatever's happening doesn't matter. Come back to me, come back to me, come back to me. And, you know, those are the ways that you get to see like you're always going to be there. You don't really abandon yourself. Every time you want to come back to you, you're always there. You're not going to hold a grudge against yourself. So if you happen to like space out and you're shifting towards that consciousness and you're getting lost in your thoughts and what's happening is come back to me, come back to me, come back to me. So I wanted to share this. This was prompt for today. That dream kept me up for like, felt like an hour where I was just processing all the experiences of like when I have been manipulated and just seeing that now I'm on the other side of that, away from that kind of energy, those spaces. It's also a representation that when you're past those experiences, you got it. You got the lesson. Well, I don't even like to say it as lessons, but you got the technique, you got the training, and you don't have to worry about things repeating because when things cycle out of your experience, you got the technique from it, you got the training from it. It served its purpose. That's why I was able to continue on. And if something is perpetuating within your life, then you're in training. You're training that specific technique. So as you see it as like this is just a training tool, it allows you to let it go and be more in control of your energy. And as you so for me, like seeing that I mastered the technique is like cool. And as you master the technique, you know, you have this, you can remember that your sensitivity, your awareness has heightened and it's forever heightened. You're going to be so aware if somebody tries to manipulate you again. You'll see it a mile away. More importantly, you'll feel it a mile away. You'll be like, hmm, I don't know if I liked what they said or how they said that. Something's off. I don't like this. You know, it's you know, that wanting to hold on to people's potential, right? People can still have the ability to live up to their potential, but you're not holding on to it anymore. You let it go. It's like, if you live up to it, awesome. And if you don't, that's awesome too. Because either way, my life continues with or without you, like you too. That song popped in my head. So, if you're navigating manipulation in any way, shape, or form, perfect. You're training and you're going to do awesome. You're going to master that technique beautifully. And if you just experienced it or you have experienced it and you're on the other side of it, it's no longer around you, be proud of yourself. You master the technique. You got to shed that energy and remove yourself from that energy. So enjoy the life that you created, the life that you're living, the peace that's around you, and also the heightened awareness and discernment that you now have. You don't have to worry about it happening again because you care more about how you feel and what you have to say. Because as you reflect on it, I'm sure even after it happened, right? Once you reflected on it, you got to acknowledge that there were times that you were aware of what was happening. And from the goodness of your heart, you chose to believe in better for them. So now you get to still, you could believe in better, but you're going to listen to you more than anything. So this is actually, I think, the longest video I've done. It's awesome. Wishing you an amazing day. And there we go. Remember who you are. Remember that you are the legend of your story. I will catch you later.